Well, hey, Central Texas, welcome back. It is me, your girl, Jasmin Caldwell, and you are tuning in for another episode of Broadcast After Dark, which we like to call the B.A.D podcast, where we talk about things that are too bold and too risky for TV. Too risky for the news. And today, I got the perfect person to have the type of conversation that we are having today. Today, a lot of you you've grown to love him. You see him on the mornings with us out in the field being crazy. I want to bring in Mr. Brandon Coate, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for Dominic clapping too. It is an honor to be on the B.A.D podcast with you all this morning.
Absolutely. This is your first time on the B.A.D podcast, right?
Yes, it is. We've tried a few other times, but it just didn't work out with my schedule, Jasmin.
Yeah, you were just too tired and just wanted to leave. That's what happened. That's
true.
Let's be honest. I'm sleepy. I'm tired.
It was a rough day, but today I am so locked in to talk everything.
Okay, you had your bagel and you ready to rock and roll. We also have Dominic on the ones and twos. Usually, we have Dana over there, punching buttons and, doing our camera shots. But we got Dominic today.
I'm gonna try to do better this time.
Absolutely, that's fine.
We're learning.
We're learning.
Was his mic off one time?
No, he just was
No,
all
I
over.
put up a different.
He put up like a
shot.
weather shot and all that stuff. Like, this is the B.A.D podcast, not morning news.
Oh, I think I remember that actually. No one's perfect, Dominic.
No one's perfect. He wants Dana's job, so we decided let's just go ahead and give him a try. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Never know.
Give the guy a shot.
Yeah, give him a shot. He's always behind the camera. Let's put him in front. So, Brandon, we have like a wild topic that we're going to discuss today.
How wild?
Ooh, wild. Like a lot of people. Okay, I feel like at one time this was a very taboo topic, but now people are starting to talk about it more and more, and they're being more open about it. What we're talking about is open relationships and polygamous relationships.
Oh yeah,
right.
Okay.
There's a difference between the two, but
for sure.
A lot more people are just being open about it and talking more about it. So I'm interested to get your take on this, and so I want to start off with this, Brandon, because the reason why I had came to Dana, I was like, let's do this topic because the singer Neo,
right?
He got about 3 girlfriends.
About
yeah, he got about 3 girlfriends. So
okay.
And then something happened to him. So I'm just gonna kind of read it and then we'll talk about it and discuss it. So we all know Neo. We love his songs. He makes really good music. So recently he has been in the headlines because of his personal romantic life. Last month he went on a podcast just like this, and he revealed that he has been dropped from certain brand deals due to his public polyamorous relationship. So one of the companies he was working with, they said straight up, quote, "We don't know if we can get behind the whole polyamorous thing." So during the show, Neo had basically said, he's quoted saying, "It's almost like you can be a great person, you can show respect and appreciation, but the second you do something that they don't agree with, canceled. And it just doesn't make any sense to me." So following the divorce, for those who don't know, Neo proposed a different type of relationship with 3 women. 3 women, they are now his current girlfriends. He gave them the opportunity of non-monogamy instead of doing what he quoted as stupid stuff, which is what he did in the past. So let's talk about that first. Let's unpack all that.
Not the stupid stuff.
I know. First of all, let Brendan tell me how do you feel about open relationships or polygamous relationships? What's your take on it? What do you feel about it?
Okay, well, the open relationship thing, I am not for. I could never do that.
Why don't you think you'll ever be able to do that?
Because I think I'm enough.
They
They don't need to go crawling somewhere else. You got the whole package right here. I'm funny. I'm charming. I love the puzzle.
Ooh.
And I think I'm semi-attractive. And I think I'm a pretty neat guy. So
yeah.
I don't know why these fellas would be like, oh, yeah, I want to go hang out with someone else.
I think I agree. Because I keep saying on this B.A.D podcast, and we just going to go ahead and write it on my forehead, I'm a petty Betty. Like I
I've never heard that before.
I cannot like share. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like
Oh my
and
God.
with open relationships, like just knowing that, my spouse or mate, whatever is just out there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
That's a yuck.
It's a yuck.
In my opinion.
Okay, so what about polygamous relationships? Like more than one person. And we're going to break down the difference between the two. I just want to get
Sure. No, I respect a polygamous relationship. I've been in one. I've tried it and didn't work out for me, but I respect it for others.
Okay.
So that's kind of why my take is on that.
Did that make you jealous though? Because I feel like in a polygamous relationship, there was it 3 parties?
Yes.
3, okay.
2 guys. Yeah.
So did it make you jealous because like that one person who's like the head of the relationship has to show equal love?
No, I did not, because I'm not an insecure person. I'm pretty secure in myself. I am. I mean, I was just telling myself I think I'm the whole package, and I don't think I was ever like thinking that kind of way. And to be fair, like we weren't ever like official. We went on a few dates. It wasn't like super serious. I don't think I even crossed that bridge necessarily, but I could definitely. It definitely was a worry, I would think, down the line, because like where are your priorities at?
Right, where are your priorities?
Because they were married. And so they had that commitment. So I'm just kind of over here like,
oh, you just kind of like when you go somewhere like where you're like the third wheel, when you go somewhere with your friends and you're like, they're in a relationship and I'm just kind of tagging along with them.
Yeah,
and
like,
guys.
It wasn't like that, but like I can see down the line, like they're married.
Yeah, so eventually you're gonna get the boot, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I gave myself the boot, but no, it was good times. But overall, I mean, I respect it. I don't know enough like marriage, but like I feel like you gotta do what you want to do.
Yeah. See, I would be like, okay, I guess they're married, so it kind of changes things a little bit. Because what I was gonna say is like, I'm the type. Okay, well, you're spending too much time with that other person. Hey, you gave them a kiss on the cheek. You gave them a kiss, but you didn't give me one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, petty Betty. That's
Petty
me.
Betty.
So that's why I'm like, I know I couldn't do this. Like I need all of your attention on me.
Because you've never tried it.
Oh gosh, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, look at me talking all this mess. Never even tried it.
And you still gotta do what you gotta do at the end of the day.
For sure.
And I feel like that kind of relationship doesn't really affect how others live their lives.
For sure.
So yeah, that's why I respect it.
So we got Dominic here as well, and I see his leg like bouncing. So I'm like,
is that why the table's shaking?
Yeah, that's why the table's shaking. It's Dominic. So I want to know what is your take on the two before I break down what each individual relationship like really means. What's your take on it?
Yeah.
I could not even. I think I would definitely be like the jealous person. If I was
Petty Betty,
I could only be in the. I couldn't.
You would have to be the head of the relationship.
I would have to be like the head of the relationship, but even then, you have to like make sure everyone's getting the same amount of attention. Same amount of attention or something. I don't know. It just seems like it's very strange. Like I met someone actually. I knew someone who I was working with at Lowe's, and
like we already talked about.
And he yeah. His name's Brandon. No, but he was explaining that he's in a polyamorous relationship with his wife, and his wife has a partner, and he has a partner, and so and then it keeps going. And I said, "What about that partner?" He's like, "Yeah, there's it kind of everyone can kind of have like another partner or whatever, so you don't really know when it stops." But his situation was like, it's just us and then our respective partners. But in other situations, I guess it could just keep going. Like that partner could have a partner, could have a partner, could have a partner. And that's insane, because then families are involved, and I don't know.
But I feel like at that point now you've all kind of become family, because like what if you get along with your wife or husband's partner, and you guys are going out playing basketball together, you're playing cards together, you know what I'm saying? Like you just become like bros or something.
Is this considered open relationship then? at this point? Because it
You know
doesn't
what?
sound
Yeah,
like
let me go.
It's
Let me break it down because we were talking about that. There's a difference between the two. I'm gonna break it
yeah.
down so maybe we can kind of understand it, or maybe our viewers can understand it
Break it down, Petty
better.
Betty.
Thank you. Right it across my forehead. Okay, so polyamory and open relationships, they are both forms of consensually non-monogamous relationships. We know that part, right? So let's break each term down. So polyamory refers to the practice of engaging in multiple romantic relationships with the knowledge and consent of all parties
Mm-hmm.
involved. So that's
Makes
kind of
sense.
like what Dominic was talking about. Now, polyamory is focused on building meaningful romantic relationships with multiple partners while emphasizing emotional intimacy and communication. Open relationships typically involve a primary partnership, so like a husband and wife, where individuals agree to engage in sexual activities with other people outside of their relationship.
Yeah.
The primary partnership remains the central focus, though. So at the end of the day, you're not leaving your husband or your wife, or for the person. You're just kind of
Sure.
going. You're always going to come back home, basically. And individuals may pursue additional sexual or romantic connections without seeking long term emotional involvement. So kind of like I said, it's just hookups. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily like relationships or falling in love. It's just you're hooking up, and then you're gonna go back and have that emotional relationship with your spouse, husband, wife,
Yeah.
whatever.
So I feel
So
like open, you just do whatever you want, but poly, you're
you're
having an intentional relationship with a group. You
yeah,
close it off to everyone else.
absolutely,
I mean,
that's
unless
that's kind of
try to open up temporarily. I don't know.
right, right. Now let's go back to Neo a little bit.
Sure.
Do you both think that his relationship status should make or break his career, especially with getting brand deals and being the face of certain companies and all that jazz?
I don't, but I'm not the business owner. I feel like that's really easy for me to say because
Hmm.
I feel like a business, you have so much riding on it.
Yeah.
I would say polyamorous is not like, you know, definitely not majority accepted.
Hmm.
So,
Now, do we know what the deals were? Like what
Now
the
he didn't
brands
say what the
were?
deals were, but
no.
Oh,
I'm assuming they were big deals because Neo is he's a A-list celebrity. He's a Grammy award winning artist.
Yeah, he was that guy for sure.
For sure, he's wrote a lot of songs for like Beyonce, like the big
Yeah.
artists, and he's had number one records and things like that. So I'm assuming they were big brand deals.
because like I would understand if maybe um they had like mission statements, I guess, like
Hmm.
these brands that really that for some reason these relationships would kind of contradict those mission
Yeah.
statements, but I would only really think of I can't really think of anything. Maybe yeah, maybe something yeah, more religious maybe, but that doesn't sound like what's going on. Like so I don't really know what kind of I don't think that his relationships, his personal relationships should affect his business work. If he's coming in to work or whatever he's doing, he's still the same guy.
Hmm.
Um,
See, I think we are in a world, if Neo's situation was back in the 60s or the 70s, I don't think the general public probably wouldn't even know. But
Yeah.
we live in a world where we are judged now through social media. And I've seen Neo and his three different girlfriends, and they post on social media
so he has
all the time.
three.
There's three. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dominic.
He
Oh,
has three girlfriends. Yeah.
It's a
And
quad.
yeah, so
wow.
there's one guy, three women. So yeah, like Brandon said, a quad, there's four of them. And I see them post. And Neo does his concerts, they're waiting for him, behind, behind the scenes, or
Now,
behind the stage waiting for him to get off, and
I gotta look up these
they
girls.
each, give him a peck on the lips and things like that. So I think
Yeah.
businesses, from a business point of view, they probably are looking at it like, this is messy and this may be a little bad for my business. It's probably how they're thinking it, right? Because they're like, if we hire Neo to be the face of Jasmine Caldwell Incorporated,
Mm-hmm.
to me, that's probably going to make the business look like, well, you agree with what he's doing, or and maybe that's what they're thinking. Maybe they're thinking this is going to hurt my business because if I hire him, um, there people are probably going to think that I too am like this, and then you're going to get judged by social media and this, that, the third, and maybe people who you work with are going to start pulling out. I don't know. It could be a domino effect, but that's just what I'm thinking. I think that people just kind of turn their nose up at it because while more people are being open about being in those type of
For
relationships,
sure.
there are still a lot of people that are like, no, like you get married to one person, the end.
Well, let me provide some context quickly because I just pulled up this little study to because I'm curious how many people in America actually like accept or respect this kind of relationship.
Uh-huh.
So okay, so according to like the National Health Institute, a study from there, 1 in 7 Americans respect those who engage in a poly relationship. One in
One in
seven.
seven.
So you're gonna have 6 out of 7 people who
Mhm.
interact with your company disagree with your spokesperson on the face of it.
Right.
That's a tough sell from a marketing
Yeah. That's,
PR
that's
standpoint.
way more than a
Yeah.
majority. That's like pretty much everybody.
I mean, unfortunately, I mean, I would say Neo's name held more weight
Mhm.
10 years ago compared to
Yeah.
now.
Compared to now, you're right
Yeah.
about that.
I mean, all respect to him. He's an incredible artist and
Y-
writer.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, just now compared to 10 years ago, and I can guarantee, the way celebrities work, if this was 10 years ago, he probably wouldn't have been because he's been married, he has
That's what
children,
I thought too.
and
Okay.
yeah, then so now he's saying, well, I've had an affair before, so let me just be open with it and be out there
Yeah.
with it, and but still, like, so what happens? I wonder he has 3 girlfriends. What happens if he cheats on those 3 girls? Like, is
Outside the
it, like,
quad.
I'm
Oh
like,
my
look, you
God,
already
bro.
have
Yeah,
3. How many do
exactly.
you need? Jeez
Oh,
Louise.
Neo. Well, because they've been going strong for 3 years, this quad.
It's been a few years.
Yeah, it's been
It
a few
started
years,
with
something
like
like
2,
that. Yeah.
and then they added another one, and
Oh my. I gotta look up a picture of these girls to see what the squad's looking like.
yeah, they're all they look different.
Yeah.
I wonder like just the psyche of sharing a relationship in that regard because it sounds different than um like I, it since they're his partners. I'm assuming like the 3 girls they can't have other they're it's just
No,
him,
yeah, he has said that before. It's
so
just him.
like he's the only one
He's the only one.
for that they can,
They cannot have
right,
partners.
but he can have 3 or maybe if he decides more. So I wonder like just the
Like it.
maybe
It's a lot of
they're
work.
just I feel like maybe they must just like not really well I'm gonna be throwing judgments, but I don't know, like maybe they're just having fun and maybe it's not like a big deal relationship to all of them.
Also, too, let's be honest. Money talks.
That is
Yeah.
true,
Money talks.
you know.
Would they do that with an average just Joe off the street? Probably not. But Neo is a millionaire.
Yeah.
So they probably are willing to put up with a lot more.
Play the
and
game,
Play the game.
stash the
Mhm.
funds.
Yep.
Touch the
Think of
funds.
how many celebrities they get to meet because they are in his life. He's a celebrity. He writes
Yeah.
music for celebrities. He's been in movies. Think of just the lifestyle that comes with it.
And do we know how older how much older they are? Or I mean, how
30s,
much younger
40s.
maybe?
I think 30s, 40s.
And how
I'm
old
not
is he?
sure either.
I don't know.
Neo is like
I should be
40
this is something
something.
that I should be doing.
Yeah, I feel like Neo is
As
40.
And I want to say the girls are somewhere.
I've
They're not. When I say young, I mean young, like 21, 22. They're not that young. So they gotta be. I want to say 30s, maybe. Nowadays people in their 40s look young. Like so, the girl could be
They can be
44
happy.
years old, and I'm like, she's 28.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know
man.
how old they are, but they're not like young girls. Like they're not
Yeah.
18, 19.
Says
20.
here Neo is 46 years old.
Okay.
Let me see.
Another question is, are there other celebrities with poly relationships?
Gotta be.
Because I feel like there's gotta be, but
Yeah.
Well,
And-
it says here he has 4 girlfriends.
Oh, 4.
But
Whoa.
this was in March of 2025, and I only see pictured
You see-
3
you see
girls.
3.
one got
Oh,
dropped.
I'll add
Uh-oh.
this picture in the edits.
Okay.
So people can see. But I'm trying to find
Oh, People Magazine.
all their names. So there's Christina.
Oh, she's beautiful.
And they've been together since at least May 2023. She was an OnlyFans model. And why are we laughing?
Of course she was.
Okay. It doesn't say how old she is. Well, and then there's Ariel.
Oh.
Okay. And
gosh, so they started the one-on-one relationship, then they kept expanding, it looks like.
Yeah, Neo calls Ariel his twin flame.
Oh,
okay. Like Christina, Ariel first started posting with Neo in May of 2023.
Okay.
Let's see. They also don't have her age. But then there's Monet.
Spell it.
Moneii.
Monet, maybe.
Yeah.
I would hope it's Monet instead of money.
The third woman Neo introduced was Monet, who refers to herself as Phoenix Feather. Okay. She's also an OnlyFans model.
Oh.
And she has a cosmetics career with Neo's support. As he gave her company
it, Jasmin.
in his introduction. So, that kind of goes into what you were saying, Jasmin. She is getting something out of this.
Absolutely.
And you know what? You play the game.
Play the game.
I don't blame her for that. So it's Ariel says yes. No, Money says yes. We're in the public eye, and we know people are going to voice their opinion. That's what's expected. But y'all need to understand over here, it's a solid foundation. She captioned a photo. That was a caption of a photo with her, Neo, Christina, and Ariel on a boat. And then she continued, we understand each other. We stand on 10 when it comes to each other. A lot of people will never understand that. And that's cool. Just know it's us versus nobody. Okay.
Period.
You can't tell me. There's got to be some behind the scene cat fights there.
For sure. I wonder how that's.
You probably asked for it.
And then there's Brianna Williams. This is the newest addition, it seems like.
Okay, Brianna.
Brianna appears to be the most recent woman added to the polyamorous relationship. She's a dancer. She was romantically with Neo in December 2024.
So he's got a type too.
He got a type. Yeah,
because they all look somewhat similar.
Yeah, that's all. I can't.
Okay,
I don't
so
have their names.
they're entertainment / OnlyFans
models
type
and
models and okay.
Oh Neo.
Well,
as long as they're happy. I mean, from what I was saying at the beginning, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't think it really interferes in other people's lives.
No, man, not at all. Until it interferes with that money, and then brand deals get cut. But Neo said so. Like I said, he'll be getting money until the day he dies. He wrote Beyonce's hit song "To the Left, to the Left."
Really?
So that song alone.
Wow.
Yeah, just he's set for life. Come on.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of what other hits he has. Like he wrote himself. Like
he had
Closer.
Yeah. Turn the light off in this place.
God, he did Let It Go. That's I don't know the name of that one. And then there's like one like Kanye West, like, oh my gosh, and some other girls. Another major hit.
Major hit. Yeah, he's good with the writing. Let's say good penmanship. He
puts pen to paper.
Yes.
I mean,
puts pen to paper. Very talented guy. Very, very talented guy. Cannot deny that. Well, okay, guys. Well, hey, listen. That's all we have about these relationships, polygamy and open relationships. Maybe there's probably people out there maybe watching who are in those relationships, and we're not judging. We're just talking about it and getting it out there.
The same study I just read about 1 in 9 Americans have engaged in a polyamorous relationship. From the study was like 5 years ago. So I mean, I don't know. They're out there.
Before we go, I just want I want the polyamorous people to feel seen if they're watching.
Okay.
And we know you're watching.
Okay.
I have some statistics here that I'll just share.
Okay.
About polyamory.
Oh, please.
So 58% of millennials in the U.S. have had a polyamorous relationship at some point.
58.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess what I was talking about is all Americans. I mean, I could definitely see that, I guess, for millennials. Because, like, what is that? Like 20s and 30s.
Yeah. And like I said, I feel like our generation, that millennial generation, that Gen Z, they're more open to talking about these things.
For sure. Yeah.
Previously. So, okay.
34% of polyamorous people identify as non-binary.
Okay.
67% of polyamorous individuals live in urban areas.
Oh, they get funky in downtown. Okay.
Wow.
There are no countries globally legally that recognize polyamorous marriage.
Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to get a divorce? Like,
whoa. I know.
Oh, because what would majority have to divorce?
Yeah, like, I gotta get this from this. Oh gosh. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
Only 3 countries allow polyamorous individuals to adopt children. Because I feel like that would be very messy.
Oh my gosh, what countries?
It doesn't say here. And this is from worldmetrics.org, by the way.
Okay.
78% of polyamorous individuals report high relationship satisfaction.
Good for them.
Wow. Well, happiness is everything. Happiness will change a lot.
Exactly.
So if they're happy.
If you find it in your throuple, if you find your quad, you go girl or boy or them.
Absolutely. You do you.
And 47% of U.S. adults view polyamory as morally acceptable. Maybe that's closer to what you were saying earlier, Brandon. With that, like no, that doesn't really make sense, right? You said like it was like 1 in 7.
I think you're talking about at places of business.
I just found that 1 in 7 Americans respect polyamory.
Oh, okay.
Also, I mean, this is a different study from like 5 years ago.
Oh, so this is saying so more people in Europe find polyamory as acceptable.
Now, I
can see it.
that.
I can see it.
People
I
in
can
the
see it.
States.
Okay.
And only 32% of people globally have heard of polyamory.
Oh.
Okay.
I can believe that too, I guess, but it's out there.
Okay. Well, there you have it, Central Texas. Dana's over there wrapping us up back there. So that ends our discussion, and it was a very meaty conversation. Lot to unpack there.
I thought so. It was an honor to unpack it with you two.
Learned a lot about Brandon, I tell you that much. Well, that's all the time we have for the B.A.D podcast, Central Texas. Join us on the next episode. Maybe send us in some questions or some discussions that you would like us to talk about. Have a great one. We'll see you on the next episode of Broadcast After Dark.